What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. So today I want to give you an overview of what is happening with Lucid, go over some of the data points, what shorts are doing, and everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to Lucid today, it hasn't been the most exciting day. I guess more so at the beginning, had a nice pop, but generally, I think this is very good because it is holding its support. And of course, right above here is a very strong resistance at the same time. So I'm going to touch on all that. Currently, it is up 2.76%. As far as volume, though, a fair share. So 20.38 million shares being traded, 24.5 is the average. And like I mentioned, as far as looking at some of the fib levels, with it being at $6.32, it is between this S3 and the S2. And as I've mentioned on previous videos, obviously I feel like to some regard it's being suppressed, and it has been, so I'm not going to go into that again. But as far as the S2, $6.43 is a very strong resistance, and that is exactly what it did bounce off of today as far as the high. So definitely that's something that you need to watch for going into the following days, is that $6.43 to break. And if it can actually get above that, then the next target is going to be $6.85, which I do feel is more kind of understandable. And plus the options are kind of pointing to that as well. As far as options today, there is a grand total of $1.54 million in calls being purchased versus 782,000 in puts. So based on this information, people are anticipating for it to continue to trend up. So of course that's a fairly good thing. When it comes down to options activity, though, it's just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. But when it comes down to this is a grid view of all the calls. It shows the strike prices, expiry dates, and like I mentioned, as far as this kind of within this range, potentially getting to that $6.85 mark, this is kind of saying the exact same thing. So by the end of next week, it is anticipated to get to around the $6.50 to $7 range. So like I mentioned, just kind of within here. So let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think that is kind of realistic? Do you think it can get to around the $7 range by the end of next week? I personally do, especially with GDP coming out on Wednesday. That could give a lot of good justification for it to trend higher. And as far as big money getting in, even though the volume isn't over the average, there still is a fair share of good transactions. So as you can tell, these are all the transactions over $100,000 on the secondary market, majority of which are buys, and you can tell that based on the ask, where it does say whether it was more oriented towards ask or bids, and so obviously telling if it's buy or sell. And when it comes down to it, some pretty good ones. So 219,000, 108, 345, and so forth. So definitely a pretty good thing. Dark pool, very, very popular today. No different than any other day. Dark pool is often linked to shorting, so I'll give you an overview of that. So as far as this though, so short score is currently 75, utilization is 90.65%. And looking right here though, shorts are actually returning 616,000 shares. And the way I interpret this information, for them to actually return shares on a green day shows that A, it's very justified, and B, they do see probably more upside coming. So like I said, you actually are starting to get a lot of good bullish signals starting to form right now. So you have the options activity, the technicals, and shorts all in favor for it to go up. 1.66% is the cost to borrow average, 24.26% of the free floats being shorted. And as I've said before, I feel like that is just crazy, crazy high, which kind of goes back down to my point about it being suppressed. But regardless of that, 200.78 million shares overall are being shorted. And when it comes down to it, there was one thing that did come out, and it was this. So more associated to, I guess, Aston Martin, but it does say Aston Martin Lagoda Global, if I'm saying that right, shareholder circular regarding the company's proposed strategic supply arrangement with Lucid Group Inc. and notice of the general meeting. So it looks like Aston Martin is going to be having a shareholder meeting on September the 19th, and they are going to be talking about Lucid. Unfortunately, I clicked on this and it doesn't look like I can sign up. But still, I think that is going to be a fairly positive thing because it kind of puts in perspective on how big Lucid and Aston Martin are going to kind of be. And when it comes down to the whole strategic supply arrangement, that might give Lucid investors a little bit more additional insight on, kind of the gravity of this whole partnership. So I think definitely big things might be coming with Lucid. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But at the time of doing this video, there hasn't been any SEC filings, no press releases, nothing like that. So it's just piggybacking off of the broader market and just optimism. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid in the comments below. Give yourself a shout out if you have been buying, selling, holding, what you've been doing with Lucid in the comments. Like I said, there's a lot of bullish signals that are starting to form. So I feel that it can easily break past this support, whether it be tomorrow or potentially even on Thursday. But still, no matter what, when it comes down to Lucid, you have to think bigger picture. That is where you're going to be making the most money. But let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Like I said, one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. It's only for a couple more days, only up until August 31st. Link in the description below and also the comments. Sign up for a Moomoo account, which is completely free. They also do offer $0 commission, free level 2 trading. But if you throw $100 at this account, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock could be valued up to $2,000, and you also get a $50 cash reward. So this in among itself is one of the best deals that you can get on the market. So with that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a ton of money on Lucid.